Hey, 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 anybody here? It says there's two of you in here. Who we got in here? Remember, guys, if you do want to talk, like actually talk instead of typing, feel free to jump on the Discord. I have a private channel that we can join. But if you just want to talk here on YouTube, it's fine. Sorry for kind of chewing your ear as well. Now, also keep in mind that this is for you guys. So I might go off on little tangents and stuff here and there. It's just like if we get into something that I really think it's valuable to go off on a tangent. But I want you guys to ask the questions. I want to make sure that we're talking about exactly what you want to talk about. That's what this is for. So if you have a strategy, we can talk about that. If you're looking to talk more about my strategy, we can do that. It's completely up to you guys. Just wanted to make sure it's actually working. It says there was two of you in here, but now it says there's none. Hello. Is anybody out there? There. Hey Zeus, what's up, man? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until you guys are ready. So I think so far you might be the only one. I'm thinking maybe when you were trying to pull it up earlier, that was why it said 2, because you might have been on your phone and the computer. I'm not sure. But there's you, George, and Shin. But I don't know if anyone else is coming. You can't see me on your PC? Can you hear me? What do you mean you can't see? Like you can't even see the stream? Are you logged in? Or maybe because you're logged in here, maybe you can't be logged in 2 places at once? Like since it's a members only thing? Since it's a private stream? Well, that's what I'm saying. Close it down on your phone and try to log in, or make sure you're logged in on your computer. Excuse me. Actually, while you're doing that, oops, wrong button. There we go. Yeah, see, now it says there's 2 people, but I'm thinking they're both you. Somehow. And look at that. Just like that, we got a Saturday night one. Save. Good to go. X out. No. Alrighty. Did you want to join Discord, or are you cool talking here? It's completely up to you. Just an option I want to make sure that you know is available. It does not matter to me at all. Just, again, just whatever you're more comfortable with. Gotcha. Is that you? Are you Mojika? Okay. So I just moved you into the private channel there. I saw you in the Hangout. So it looks like you're muted right now. Do you have a mic set up? Or are you trying to get in there to talk? I wonder, oh, maybe it was me. Might have had the server muted. Should be good now. Oh, you're on your phone? You should be able to talk on there, though, from what I remember. Because I remember using my phone to talk as well. It's a good question. I haven't used it in a while. Let me see. Let me look at it on my phone real quick. Looks like if I hit connect to voice. Hello? I don't know if you can actually hear me. I'll just get out of that because I don't know. I don't want to mess it up. Oh, so, okay, there we go. Well, maybe. Oh, what happened? Oh, it kicked me out. There we go. I guess it don't really matter. Oh, yeah, I guess I'd have to be in there if you're trying to talk. There's really no reason that you wouldn't be able to, so I don't know if it's an option on your phone. Like down on the bottom, when you look at the channel, you might just have to... Oh, hold on. Might have figured it out. Might have been on my end. It still says you're muted. Let me see. Edit channel. permissions. So you can speak. Members must use push to talk. And we can try this. Did that work? Oh. Okay, so we got the mute away from you, but I just can't hear you. It looks like it's trying to get you to talk, but I'm not hearing anything. But that could be me. Hold on. Let's see. Voice and video. No, it should be working. I was making sure I had the right output, which I do. Yeah, I muted myself on Discord because I don't want to echo on YouTube. Here, let me mute myself here. Actually, you know what? Well, no, because that would be on your phone, so it wouldn't make sense. Hold on, let me just mute this. All right. So, yeah. Just keep going because I'll leave it open. So if I randomly hear you at some point, it's just so weird that it would be popping up like it's working, but it's not. And you could hear me, so I don't really understand it. So what do you want to know? Let's just start there. It's just me and you. Let's figure this thing out. Do you have your own strategy that we're trying to optimize? Are we looking to, like, what? I guess first off, before we even get into that, how long have you been day trading? Have you been day trading? Are you live using a paper account, demo account? To kind of give me your backstory a little bit. It'll really help let me kind of understand how to go, like what terminology to use, like more beginner based. If we could get more into intermediate type stuff, it'll just kind of give me a heads up on where to start. Started trading in August, real money in March. Only long for now. There's nothing wrong with only going long. Yeah, gotcha. I think everybody kind of starts off that way. Geode. Is that you, George? I'm pretty sure that's his last name. No. Yo, Geode. Geode? Yes, no? It's so weird that that's not working. It's starting to make me wonder if it's... you know what? Let's try one thing real quick. Let me mute this. Try joining the call. I just sent you a call via, I guess it would be in like your DMs on Discord. You should be able to see the invite only channel now, so jump back in there. Well, I mean, if you want to keep trying to get it to work. But okay, so what are you looking to learn? Are you looking to learn like the ISW strat? Do you have a strat that you're already using? Do you want to explain the strat that you are using so that I can just see where you're coming from, and then we can see what we can do to optimize it? I mean, what are your current stats on that strat as well, if that's what you want to talk about? Like, we should really kind of get as much background information out of the way so that we can move forward based off of that. I can't believe Google is up at 1400. It's just nuts. Well, you said you've been trading real money since March. How have you been trading it? Are you just like all over the place? Like, you're just kind of taking what looks good? Like, you just don't have an actual defined strat? Gotcha. So are you looking for guidance? Like, are you looking for somebody to kind of just tell you what to do? Or like, that's why I don't want to press in a certain direction without knowing that's what you're looking for. So that's kind of why I'm probing here a little bit. Just look at moving stocks as in just like stocks that are moving that day, like intraday. Are you looking at specific types of stocks, like penny stocks, low floats, like mid caps, high caps? Mostly penny, low float. What size account are you trading with? And who are you trading with? Just out of curiosity. Man, this carbonation is killing me. Gotcha. Yeah, that can be tough. I mean, I have a $4,000. I started with a $5,000 account on Shirt Trader, but now I'm using a $4,000 account on CMEG, and I still find it tough just because, you're battling the commissions and the fees and all that good stuff. I see you joined the Discord channel. Still nothing there as far as it's so weird that I can see your the green circle, but nothing. It's weird. Are you looking to stay with the low float penny stocks, and you're just looking for some advice on like what to do with those? Is that what we're gonna go towards? Because honestly, with a smaller account, especially like a $1,500 account, getting away from those is actually kind of hard. If like, to be completely blunt, $1,500 is not enough to trade with. So either you're going to have to do one of two things. You're going to have to risk more of your account than you should be, just because your account's so small, or you're going to have to try to basically just break even and save money outside of trading to kind of help alleviate the fees and the commissions and stuff. And I even said that last night. So it's kind of one or the other. And obviously, if you take option number one, you kind of risk the chance of blowing up your account. You take option number two, it's going to be very frustrating because you're not going to be able to build your account, right? You're basically trading for experience. You're trading for, tuition at that point. But at the same time, you're not going to blow up. However, if you're not, making that money on the side to cover your fees and commissions, you're eventually, if you're just a break-even trader, you're going to basically commission and fee yourself out of your account. If you're using DOS, it's $125 a month. The commissions are $3 a pop. So pull the calculator out. I'm sure that's even if you broke even after commissions, that's about less than a year of trading, just from the platform fee. So it's you definitely, and if you've been watching me for a little bit now, the two things I preach are risk management and consistency. So I always lean towards the side of risk management because I don't recommend ever getting into bad habits. So if you start risking more of your account than you should be, and it works, you're going to think that that's okay when you have a bigger account. And then whether it's a $1,500 account or a $15,000 account, you're still going to possibly have that bad habit in you to where you're like, oh, well, back then I was risking more of my account and it worked out just fine. And you might try to do it again and you have 10x your money. Well, guess what? You're going to make the same mistake and lose 10x your money at the same time. So I definitely don't recommend doing that, I recommend doing your best to, I mean, obviously you can try to grow the account, and I break even. I mean, I build my account. I do, even after the fees and the commissions, but it's hard. As you can see, like last month I made $300 after commissions and the fees. It was like $100, but that's another month that I didn't, because this money doesn't mean anything to me right now. Like it's extra money. I stay at home and take care of the kids. Like that's my primary job. And so whatever I can build the account with, I don't need to take any out of it. So it's a big bonus. And that was the other reason I said to keep working, if that's what I'm assuming you're working as well. But that's what you want to continue to do, because you should never count on trading as that primary source of income, whether it's now or until you get to the point where you're like way ahead. And I'm talking like way ahead into house money, to where you have like a full year's worth of bills and everything just sitting aside, just in case, right? You should always keep that in mind. A lot of these people that try to go full-time trading are, they get a little ahead of themselves. They'll turn a $5,000 account into a $25,000 account, and all of a sudden they think they can be a professional trader. And I am one that's sitting here saying I could turn $5,000 into $100,000 and I still wouldn't feel that I'm ready, because I know that just because you did that doesn't mean that you're going to be consistent at doing it over and over and over again. And who knows how long it would actually take me to do that. But again, if you can consistently make $10 a day, like if you set your goal at first to make $10 a day and you can do it every day for like 3-4 months, then guess what? Theoretically, all you have to do is add a 0 to your share size, and now you're making $100 a day, and you don't change a single thing, right? The only thing you're changing is you're putting another 0 behind your share size, and you make more money. That's it, right? That's the theory that I'm going off of right now, although I'm not just adding a 0, which you can, but in most cases you're not going to do that. You're going to kind of find the medium spot. And good, that's good. You should definitely don't lose that good paying job. Hopefully this whole Corona thing didn't affect you either. Thankfully for me, obviously, I was staying home with the kids anyway, so I actually had a heavier workload because my oldest was home for the last 3.5 months. But the wife also had the opportunity to work from home, so that was good for her too. Okay, so you like my style, $1,500 using CMEG. So you don't have to take low floats out of the question. But the problem is, if you're only going long, using my type of strategy is not really going to work. But let me pull up I don't know if David told me what he traded on Friday. Let me see. David, who is also part of Team ISW, are you using scanners? Okay, so he did show me. All right, let's see. No scanners? Okay. Which is fine. I mean, if you're starting with the smaller account, it's one of those things, hey, you can't afford them. I'm not saying you can't afford them if you could, but I'm just saying from a trading perspective, using $1,500 account, it's kind of hard. But I remember when I started using them, I had the 4,000. It was actually like a 3,000. I think I had $3,000 at the time. And I was just like, I'm going to kind of take the leap of faith with these things. And it was amazing. This is something else. So one of the trades, David, he's long biased. The reason that's why I'm bringing him up, he's very long biased. He basically only longs. It's very, very rare you see him take a short. But this was one of his trades. Looks like 32.50 is where he got in. So like right near see these two lines here? I guess I can just draw you a line. So 32.50, that's where he got in. And if you remember, this is almost no different than my strategy. Like if we were scrolled out a little bit, you'll see, I mean, you could almost use like this. This actually looks like a pretty good area. Oops. And then this. So what I look for very high percentage win trades is I look for those previous supply zones, which are support and resistance. So if you're looking at the long side, you're looking for previous support areas. So if you scroll out to the day before, you see those areas. And when we get down, this thing actually halted right at that area. But then when it unhalted, it tried to go higher, did not, and it blew through both of those support areas, right? So you're looking for an extension away from that area. This is where he entered, 32.50. It decided to keep going down to 32. And as you can see, it ended up bouncing back right up towards those lines. And it actually found it. I know this line usually would mean from yesterday, but that means that's where it closed, I think. From today, yeah. Or well, from yesterday. But as you can see, this chart looks just like my chart that you would normally see. It's just upside down. And that's really the only difference. The longs typically work just as well as the shorts, but sometimes they take longer just because the human emotions when dealing with long trades are just a little bit different than people selling, when you're going short. It's just a little bit different. I will be adding about 4K in a few weeks. It looks reverse from what I've seen you short into. Yeah, exactly. Is the volume on your Discord turned up? That'd be kind of weird if it wasn't. You know what? Let me try something. Let's see, user settings, voice and video. Let me try changing it to... Try talking now. Oh, I can hear you. All right. No, I can hear you. What's up? There we go. Finally. So what? Yeah, so it was my fault. I had it set to the actual headphones instead of default, which doesn't make sense why it wouldn't work, but whatever. I do hear myself though. I don't know how we can fix that though, since you have one coming from your computer. Okay, yeah. That's a good idea. Hey, George, can you hear me now? We're actually just kind of wrapping things up, to be honest. Are you geoed in the Discord? I tried pulling you up on there earlier. But yeah, real quick, Zeus. Yeah, what should I call you, by the way? Do you want to be called Zeus? Mujika? So which one, Zeus or Mojika? Am I saying that right too, by the way, Mojika? Okay, I'll just call you Zeus then. But yeah, so yeah, the other way, like I said, would just to have a max loss. So whether that be a per trade or whether it be, for the day, like if they can be the same thing if you want. But if you get caught in a stock that's literally just going straight up, like I'd said, is almost virtually impossible. But, if it feels like it's doing that and it hits an area where it's your max loss, you have to respect that. That's why you'll see on my montage right now, after I X out of all these trades, but you'll see on my montage, I have a stop max on the montage. So that way, if at any point I feel like we're getting, like if something like this started going straight up and my max loss was at 1342, I would just hit the button. And if it wants to hit that, then even though the chart looks really good, it would suck. But that way you can always respect it. And you live to trade another day. If that makes sense, right? Your goal, risk management, is always key. Yeah. You don't ever want to put yourself in a position where one trade can just absolutely wipe you out. That would just be silly. But yeah, let's look at the rest of these examples real quick. There's not that many more. But again, yeah, LSCC, another one. This one actually wasn't as bad, but again, look, previous resistance, and then look at that big extension. So FTC right at 20. This is on the higher price. This was over 30. And again, previous resistance all the way down here at 30. And just look how stupid that candle looks compared to all these other candles. And that's all you're looking for. You're just looking for the opportunities that the market gives you when you see these. And like I said, a lot of the times it'll always be, look, it was right over 31. You'll see a lot of my entries are always right over key areas, whether it be the $half dollar, whole dollar. Let's see, what's this one? NVTA at 15.7. Get it, I'm listening. Well, like I was saying yesterday, figuring out your share size, to me, is probably one of the hardest things to figure out. And the most recent one that I figured out is this little chart that I'm using here. And basically what I did is I took my max loss and I'm starting to use the scale on these charts. So if I were, let me go all the way over here. So if I were trading TGI and I pulled this up, you'll see it's a 20-cent scale. And what I mean by scale is see these numbers over here on the right. See how they go up 20 cents at a time? So basically what that does is that'll change on some stocks. Like if I pull up the SPY, you'll see it's 25 cents. If I pull up Tesla, it's $10, right? So basically what that does is no matter how I pull, whatever stock I pull up, it's basically going to give me a range. Like Facebook, it's $1. What's another? Apple, it's $2. So whatever I pull up, it's going to give me a consistent range based off of what the stock's doing that day. So basically that way I can then take the chart that I made and I came up with an equation, which is my max loss, which right now is, say it's $100. You divide it by the scale. So let's go back to one that was 20 cents. So if you divide it by 20 cents, that would be, oh, excuse me. Or there's like something stuck in my throat. But I just wanted to show you this too on the calculator. Let me pull it back. There we go. All right, so you would take 100. You would divide it by the 20 cents. So it would give us 500 shares. And then what I did is I just found, this was a lot of tinkering. But basically I went and figured out if I were to add into a stock on a 20-cent scale, I went and looked at like average moves based off of all of my previous charts and how far they usually move on when it had a scale of 20 cents. And I tried to basically guesstimate where I would add on those charts. And then I basically came down to, it was about 60% of the original move. So say I got in at $10, I was looking and the move was about $1 up to that point. It would make about another 60-cent move before it was the top. Like that would be my scale in per se. So 60% ended up being like the magic number. Now it's really hard to explain this, but it is kind of like it's just the equation that I came up with. Like I said, this is something that you can tinker with. You can come up with your own method. This is actually like probably my 5th or 6th method of coming up with share size. God, I can't get this like stuck in my throat. But anyways, so we would times that by 0.6 and that would give us 300 shares. And then you just split that into your 112 that you would scale in with. So you would basically divide it by 2. And then you would divide it by 2 again. So your first entry would be 75 shares. Your second entry would be 75 shares. And then your third entry would be 150 shares, giving you a total of 300 shares. And what that would do, so let's take a move on TGI here, for instance. Let's go over to this one. So let's say we had previous resistance here. We got in with 75 shares at 10.05. Or 10.11, we'll say, just because that's where the line is. So let's do 10.11 times 75. Oops. That wouldn't be right anyway, because we'd need to move. So say this then went up here to 10, like went through 1050 and to 1056. So on 75 shares, it just moved 45 cents against this. Why is that not working? 75 times 41. Or I said 45, didn't I? Yeah, crap. 75 times 45. So 33.75 is how much money we'd be down on just that first entry. Now say it continues to move up, and we get our final add at 11. Like we'll just say 11.07. And say it actually went up to like 11.25 and then started like that's where but look how crazy of a move that would have to look. Like look how crazy that would have to look if we were to end up doing that, right? But so this green candle would have to go straight up to there, which is probably what we'd be looking for to kind of enter in the first place, like through 1050. So it's not even that big of a deal. But anyways, just for example's sake, 1056 to 1107. Let's say it's 1106 just for math's sake. So it's another 50 cents. So let's do 75 times 0.5. So 37.50 plus 37.50, or 37.50 plus 33.75 is 71.25. So now we have an extra, when we hit that button at 1106, we now have 300 shares. So 300 divided by, what is that, 29.75 or 28.75, sorry. Crap, 328.75. So we have 10 cents for this thing to move after our add for us to hit like that max loss area. So at that given point, which that would actually really suck because it is kind of close. But you would also, you kind of can give it, when you get that final ad, then like I said, this is trying to get us as close as possible without, necessarily going too crazy. But if this makes a pop through and it does go to like 1125, it's kind of okay because you're giving it that last opportunity to find a high and you're waiting for that pullback that is, you would think, is pretty imminent. But I'm just trying to show you how I kind of came up with that formula that I'm using now, is to get us to the point where we would most likely be with that given scale on the side to get near $100 or to get near your max loss based on the 112 system. And as you can see, if you break it down, it puts us like right at it when we get that last ad. And that's on a pretty intense move, right? This thing started a move all the way down here at 9, and we were entering right over 10. So that's a full dollar. It already moved up. So you're saying it would have to move a whole nother dollar, which is usually not the case. Usually from the start of a move, in most cases from what I found, is you get about 50% more of a move, like 50-60% more of that move. So and that was actually how I based my I used to base my stop losses off of that in the past as well, is I would look at the length of the move when I first got in and then expect 50-60% to be the top if it wanted to continue. And I would kind of base my stops off of that. But now I don't do that anymore. But it's for it to move a whole nother 100% of the move, it's usually pretty unrealistic, especially after it already made a pretty good extension through that previous resistance. So yeah, that was pretty lengthy talking about something as simple as finding share size, but you'd be surprised how much really goes into it. And like I said, this is like my 5th or 6th different way of trying to figure out how to get share size figured out, because it's tough. It's tough to be consistent on every single trade when you're scaling into a trade on the front side like I am, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't, just tell me. Yeah. And it's definitely something that comes with time. It's just like everything with trading, whether it be trading, your other job. Like I always tell this to my wife when she's like, how are you doing with trading, stuff like that. And I'm like, well, in the first year, or I always tell her, is like, when you first started your job, how long did it take you to finally feel comfortable? And, sometimes she'll be like, well, I still don't feel comfortable. And she's been there for like 6 years. And I'm like, exactly my point. So it's no different than anything else, to where, people go to 4-year universities to get diplomas in something that they think they're going to do for the rest of their lives. You should really not treat this any differently as far, from a learning perspective. It's no different than starting a new job. I always say that, because when you first start doing anything that's new, you're not going to pick up on it right away. You're going to have aha moments, light bulb moments like you had, I think you said it was yesterday, but you're going to slowly, every once in a while, just have one of those moments. And then that's when you know that you're progressing. When you have those moments, everything in between, it's all kind of filler. It's all kind of stuff that you need to learn as well. But when you finally get those moments where you're just like, aha, right? Those are the moments that you got to hold on to and realize that, okay, we're actually getting somewhere. So as long as you I still have those moments all the time too. So, and when you finally stop having those moments, you're probably doing pretty well. I'm still waiting for that. Well, like I said, I'm not a professional. I'll never claim to be until I feel that I am. But as you can tell, I do feel like I know what I'm talking about. Like I've learned quite a bit since I started. But I also do take this very seriously. Just ask. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you ever have a question about whatever, that just like, it's like a random question that pops up and you're looking for the answer, just shoot it to me on Discord. It's not a big deal. If I'm around, I have no problem answering it. But yeah, George, hopefully you got something out of this. You can obviously always go back and watch this. It'll be available for you guys to go back and watch it. So if you have any questions that you think of, if you do go back and watch it, George, let me know. Same with you, Zeus. But I'm going to get out of here for now. It was, I feel like it was a pretty good session. I actually went way longer than I thought it would. We were actually setting up for a little while, though, trying to figure out the Discord and stuff. But hopefully we can get everybody in here for next time into the Discord. It's much easier to be able to talk to you guys instead of, it's like say something and then wait for you to text or chat, and it's like, eh. But all right, man. Well, have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll be here if you need me. I always have my phone. I have the Discords on my phone just like you, so. Yeah, of course, man. I'll see you around.